This is the second of my interviews with the brilliant Brazilian psychotherapist Dr. Norberto Keppe. It was conducted less than a week after the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. For that reason alone, it's a significant conversation. But I think it's important on another level too, because Dr. Keppe lends his incredible intellectual weight and his vast psychotherapeutic clinical experience to shed the light on some of the key psychological issues that we as a species have to address today. Like the issue of projection, where we take something that's actually going on inside us, our own internal problem, and project it outward into the world, the people and objects around us. This is something that we absolutely must begin to address if we're to evolve and grow as a species. But there's another idea that Dr. Keppe puts forward that's very important, and this is the idea that society is actually showing some of the signs of psychological illness that individuals show. And this sociopathology must begin to be looked at as well. Linked into all of this is another of Dr. Keppe's key considerations of the pathology of power, how the power structures of the planet are structured and how they're evidencing some of these psychological issues as well. This finally is an answer of why we're feeling so beat up sometimes by the economic structure, by the political structure, by the general structures and legal systems and such around us. Dr. Keppe's thoughts, I'll warn you, on all of this are very challenging and provocative. This is not an easy conversation to understand, but I think it's absolutely essential if we're to grow as a species. A couple of things to address technically. I conducted the interview in English because my Portuguese is limited to how to order beer in a restaurant, but Dr. Keppe spoke to me in his native Portuguese. I was hooked up to simultaneous translation, and so I could listen to a translation of Dr. Keppe's answers as the interview was being conducted. We later overdubbed English over top of Dr. Keppe. Okay, well, that being said, I invite you to strap yourselves in and enjoy a very provocative conversation with Dr. Norberto Keppe. We've just witnessed a terrible terrorist attack in the United States. Unprecedented in my lifetime anyway. I wasn't around for Pearl Harbor. I think it's important to try to find some meaning in this, something that makes sense. You've been watching this very closely, I'm sure. What are your initial thoughts about the situation arising as you've been watching?
Society has to be seen through the eyes of sociopathology. That is, human society has the same psychological problems, the same pathology that individual human beings have. And so, what does it mean, these people who are terrorists, or those who create severe problems for society? They are mentally sick psychotics acting in the larger field of society. So, if we see society as a body, a big body, it has the same problems that a person has. The act of terrorism occurs when people who are mentally sick psychotics try to attack and destroy the social body. The society is pathological, just like the human being. And so, in this case, we have to study ways of how we can change society in order for it to become saner. That is, we need to do sociotherapy, therapy for society. So the whole society can stop having terrorists, strange and sick people that try to destroy society.
What do you mean by pathological?
Patológico significa, assim, doentes, pessoas
means sick. It refers to people who are sick. We don't see this only in the psychiatric field, in mentally sick people such as schizophrenics, depressive people, people with manias, this kind of thing. But it also applies in the social field, criminals, delinquents, and terrorists as well. They are people that are socially sick, that offer a danger to society. They have the same sickness that the individuals in the psychiatric hospital have. So, we need to see not only that criminals are dangerous, but that they are also mentally sick. They should be treated.
Pessoas criminosas como perigosas, mas elas são doentes, pessoas que precisam ser tratadas.
It doesn't work just to create prisons or hospitals where we can put the mentally sick. Prisons only increase a person's sickness, the same as the psychiatric hospital does. A society that requires many fines and controls and many prisons, this is a sign that such a society is very sick. And so we can conclude that the more prisons and psychiatric hospitals a country uses, the sicker it is. If a country has a lot of criminals, it means that it has a very sick structure underneath. And this structure creates an enormous group of pathological people who are very sick, and as a result are dangerous to the society.
How do we begin to treat society then? I mean, what do we do to make it less sick?
Porque a sociedade, ela precisa modificar
Society needs to modify its fundamental structure because peace comes from social justice. Any society, whether it's capitalist or communist or any other type, that doesn't offer to all individuals the opportunity of living equally and reasonably, at least in economic and social terms, this society creates revolt against this structure, which gives a chance to the more delinquent and sicker ones to attack this society. So, the only way to treat a sick society, as are all the world's societies today, is to create it so everyone suffers less injustice, so that all people have the same rights. Modern society doesn't have the democracy that they say they have. Not all people have the same chance to develop. Not all people have the same level socially and economically.
You're talking a lot about sick people in society. Are some sick people rising to positions of power?
Yes.
Yes. The problem in society is that there are certain people in power who impose a type of society that is unjust to many people. For example, economically, some people who have economic power, who give economic orientation, who have economic influence, they want everything to function for their interests. There are sick people who establish a very bad social environment that creates a revolt against society. So these sick people gather together other powers along with themselves and create a situation that we can only call pathological, sociopathological. My work for years has been to create a new science called sociopathology that addresses this need to do social therapy. What I mean by this is to treat these people who are very sick in this social setting so that they are stopped from creating problems. And so, there are the delinquents below, the individually sick, and the really sick people above, with an enormous gap between